Economics simply means why do businesses. You would have been scrolling Instagram, working on your business. That means there is no currency which can cause massive problems across the economy. In business as well, you have the most perfect business. Everything is just on point. Imagine this, you have the most perfect business, the perfect team, the perfect numbers, everything is just on point. And now you want to earn more, grow more, scale more, buy a dream house, dream car, whatever it is. But here's the problem, there's nothing enough every single time. There's not enough time, not enough customers, not enough team members. And that's where the first principle of economics comes, which is called as scarcity. And with the word scarcity, the world of economics begins. In this video, I'm going to explain you economics in such a layman language that you would never look at your business ever again the same way. The reason you need to understand economics in detail is so that you can understand what are the macro and micro behaviors inside your business that shape how your business comes out to be. Learning economics can be the finest skills you can acquire for your business. So stay tuned and take a lot of notes. Economics simply means that how people and businesses make decisions when things are limited. Because if everything is unlimited, you would not need to make a choice. Why? Because everything is unlimited and you can choose from that. But if there are limited choices, then how people and businesses make choice is what economics is. And economics is not about big charts or some complex theories or mathematical equations. It's more about why do businesses grow? Why do businesses fail? Why do prices rise? Why do prices go down? Why do profits go up? Why do profits go down? Why there are some businessmen who are always one step ahead in the curve? So let's start with something simple. Imagine you have a chai shop and your friend has a samosa shop. You drink your chai daily, he eats a samosa daily. Now one day you get bored and you're like, bhai, let's exchange. I'll give you a tea, you give me a samosa in return. And that's the first thing that happens. It's called as a trade. When you exchange something for another exchange of value, that is a trade, and that is the basic unit of economics. And when that trades happen at multiple locations, at multiple scale, that's how the world moves forward. And because of trade, both the parties can now win, because I can have a chai and a samosa and the other party can also have a chai and a samosa. And this is the first rule of economics, that when trades are done fairly, both the parties can become a win-win. And that's what business is built on. You need to win-win with your team members, win-win with your customers, win-win with your investors. And that win-win equations, when multiplied at a large scale, makes a big business. But things get a little interesting because every trade you do has a hidden cost. So for example, you're watching this video right now. You would have been scrolling Instagram, working on your business, sleeping, whatever you want to do. That's called opportunity cost. The thing you gave up to do something else. You traded this, that's why you left another trade. That is called as opportunity cost. And in business, opportunity cost is everything, because you can spend the same 1 lakh rupees you have right now into ads, or you can put that into buying inventory, or you can put that to pay salaries. The smart business owner always asks this question, which is, what is the best use of my next rupee? Which leads me to another term, which is really powerful to know. It's called as comparative advantage. So let's say you and your friend run tiffin services. You make the best rotis and he makes the best dal. Now, if you just sell rotis and if he just sells dal, you both would be small. But if you can create an exchange traded value, that means you simply say that you provide me dal, I'll use it, give it to my customers, you take my rotis, use it and give it to your customers. Both would simultaneously grow at the same speed, because your specialty is making rotis, not dal. If you yourself start making dal, the problem is that the quality of food will go down and the other person who's taking your rotis and making a specialized dal will win over you. So even if you're not best at anything, you can still win by being the least bad at something. And that is where the magic of comparative advantage comes. And that's how businesses also become big, they grow faster, is because they focus on what they do as a specialty instead of scattering themselves. And all of these terms that I've told till now, which is opportunity cost, trade, all of that, when combined together, creates a new term called as markets. So imagine a subzi mandi, right? A classic Indian subzi mandi. People are shouting their prices, everyone is bargaining with each other, sellers are creating chaos, buyers are buying stuff, then comparing prices, doing all of that stuff. A typical subzi mandi. This is nothing but a representation of how a market looks like. and the prices go up and down because of incentives that you attach with that price. So let's say if tomatoes are 100 rupees a kilo, it's too expensive for the market, that's why the buyers would drop. But if tomato goes to 20 rupees per kilo, that's surplus, that's very cheap, and that's why the demand would eventually increase very high, is because there's too many buyers for that. And that's where we understand supply and demand. Demand is what people are ready to pay for it. Supply is how much availability of that particular resource is in the market. Because if there are 6 tomatoes left in the whole subzi mandi, then the prices of tomatoes would shoot up. But if there are tons and tons of tomatoes available, the price of tomatoes would automatically come down because there are enough buyers to incentivize it. And now you apply the same concept in every industry: real estate, restaurants, forex, anything that you can think of. All of those markets work on the same exact principle: supply and demand. Since you understood what is a sabzi mandi, imagine the sabzi mandi has no money. That means there is no currency, there are no physical notes or coins that you can use to exchange value. Everyone is using their own way to judge what a 1 kilo tomato should bring me back. Someone is selling potatoes to get tomatoes, someone is selling potatoes to get tomatoes, someone is selling polythenes to get tomatoes, like you don't know. And when that happens, it creates a chaos on next level. And that's when humans decided to create something called as money. And that was the first invention of money. Money wasn't given by God. Money was created by humans. And it is just a simple tool to make trades easier. Because I know the same 100 rupees note can get me 1 kilo potato and 1 kilo tomato. And that's why I didn't need to switch both of them. I can use that currency to trade, get potatoes or tomatoes, whatever I want. So basically, money becomes the oil of the business engine that you have. The engine can only run when you have money. See a very normal business also, right? You start a business, you have a product, you have a service, you want to sell it to the marketplace. Let's say you start putting out some content, right? Now to put that content out, you shot some videos, maybe you hired someone to edit those videos, maybe you hired someone, you spent some money, right? Then you got some leads out of that, then you did some sales, you got money back, then you invested that money into ads, you again send the money out. So it's a continuous flow of money that is happening inside the business. So the engine flows because the money, that is the oil, is present inside the engine and the engine can run smoothly. And that's when banks also came. Now banks made this process much more easier. So instead of having hundreds of notes inside your house or anywhere in a cupboard, what bank said is that you can deposit your money for us. And a lot of people needed money, right? So let's say you want to start a business and you want a loan. So bank said that because we have taken money from these people, we can give that money to you at a particular interest. And that's where the word interest came. That means earning money on your money because you're lending it to someone else. And now the oil that you used as money also becomes the engine itself, because the money is also producing money for yourself. And that's when you will see whenever banks fail, everyone is in a shock. Which brings me to the next term, which is called as productivity. So imagine there are 2 chai shops. One chai shop uses an electric kettle and makes 200 cups in a day. And another one uses coal, gas stoves, all of that and makes 30 cups a day. Who will make more money? The first chai stall. Why? Because they are productive, because they are efficient. Productivity simply means doing more work in less time. So the same chai shop that was making 30 cups in a day is now making 200 cups in a day because of a change of method that they used, which makes the whole thing more productive. And for you as a business owner, productivity is nothing but changing efforts to efficiency, of understanding how in the same amount of hours, capital, resources, whatever you have, you can create the maximum efficiency out of it. And the person who creates the maximum efficiency takes the most market share. Because if I can make 2000 cups of chai and all the other people can only make 30 a day, I would eventually have all the market share. And the reason is simple, because my efficiency is higher than all of them. Now let's say that chai shops make 30 cups a day. It becomes more productive, make 2000 a day. More productive makes 20,000 a day. More productive makes 2 lakhs a day. But there's a scale to it, right? You need to understand that the business becomes bigger and bigger, and simultaneously all the other business, the samosa business, the cloth business, all the business are becoming bigger. Now when all these businesses are located at a place, which can be a country, a state, a city, whatever it is, we need to count how much efficiency is that country producing. And to know that, which is how much business that country, city, state is producing, we use the term called as GDP, which is gross domestic product. And GDP is nothing but the total value of everything produced in that country in a single year, from chai to cars to rockets to someone, anything you can count off. All of that included, total value generated in a year. That means if a country says that our GDP is growing, that simply means that the businesses in that country are doing well. If a country says our GDP is falling, that means the businesses in that country are doing not so well. And now, because of that, let's talk something that every business owner feels. It's called inflation. And the simple idea to understand inflation is, why does the chai that costs rupees 10 is now costing rupees 15? 2 days back, I was at my home and I asked my mom, like, what was your college fees? And she said, I think 12 rupees per quarter. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, it's 12 rupees per quarter, which is around 48 rupees a year. And I was like shocked with it. 48 rupees a year and your education is done? That's like me booking cab, no, auto, forget it, a Rapido from my home till the college and it's gone, right? That's inflation. Like the same power that money had yesterday is not the same power that the money has today. So inflation comes in two scenarios. Either when the demand is very high and that's why prices go up, or the government prints too much of money, that the circulation of money is too much, that inflation automatically occurs. Now, inflation is not the enemy. A little inflation is actually good for the economy. It just shows that the economy is evolving, the economy is growing, or in better words, the economy is active. But if inflation is done too much, then your savings lose value fast. So if inflation goes 50% in a day, and let's say I have a lakh in my bank account, that is not a lakh anymore, that's 50,000 left. But it looks lakh on the screen, but the actual purchasing power of that lakh rupees has now become 50,000. And that's why maintaining this inflation rate is the key job of RBI. And they do that by changing interest rates from time to time. Because if they don't manage interest rate, either the inflation can shoot up or shoot down, which can cause massive problems across the economy. So if inflation is high, they raise rates so that they can control spending. And if businesses are slower, they decrease the rates so that business can borrow money and spend more so that they can boost spending across people. But now you'd be thinking, okay, there's a country, there are multiple businesses in that, all business makes profit, some makes losses. The business is happy, the business owner is happy. But what of the country? Like, I walk on roads, I have hospitals, I have schools. How are these things coming up? So what happens is every country gets a government. That government builds roads, infrastructures, buildings, hospitals, you name it. But they don't sell any product or service on which they can make profit on. And that's why they collect taxes from business and individuals. It can be in form of income tax, capital gain tax, GST, TDS, multiple ways, shape and forms, right? But they collect taxes so that the government can run and provide the facility to the business to do business over there. Imagine you have a factory, that factory needs a place, right? Now that land is of the government, right? So you're paying taxes. Now you want a road beside your factory so that people can come and go. That is again by the government. Now that road needs street lights. That's again by the government. So your business is making a profit. It pays a certain percentage, depends on country to country, as a tax to the government, which the government uses to make infrastructure for the businesses so that businesses can grow more and the economy can overall become bigger. But if the corruption is too much, then the government doesn't use that money for infrastructure and puts them in the pockets of politicians. Then in that case, you would see the economy is falling down. Why? Because the money is not being utilized in the correct way, shape and form. Again, productivity, efficiency of that money is not enough. Now there's a word called budget deficit, which means that government has spent more than getting it from the people of the country. So let's say there are 120 crore people in India, let's hypothetically all paying tax. Now if the government collects, let's say, example, 1200 crore in taxes from all the 120 crore people, that is 10 rupees average per person, then, but the government is spending, let's say, 2000 crores on infrastructure, then there's a budget deficit. But when they collect more and spend less, that is a surplus. And you would never see that a government, any government of any country, maybe one or two times, has ever gone into surplus, right? It's always in deficit. And because it is in deficit, they need to get more money. So how do they got more money? They borrow more money from the people itself by issuing government bonds. That means me as a person can pay the government some money, lend some money to them in order to generate interest from the government, which is not a very high interest, but I can generate an interest. So government got the money that they wanted. In return, they're paying me interest on that money. And this little bit of borrowing from each person of the country becomes national debt. You would have heard that the world is in a 35 trillion debt, India is in this much debt, Russia is in this much debt. Where does this debt come from and who are they paying interest to? Well, that is what bonds is. And debt is not bad at all, right? Like you can use debt for your business to grow more. I remember my times when I didn't used to have money. I used to spend on credit cards for ad spend because I don't have a lot of money. And I used to generate a return on that in 7 days, pay back the credit card and keep the profits. Similarly, if governments take debt from people, use it in the right places for infrastructure, road, all of these part, and let's say that helps the businesses to grow more, then in that case, the debt becomes an investment. So paying off the interest of that also becomes easier, and paying the debt overall also becomes much more easier. But if that same debt taken from people is not used in the correct way, becomes a burden on the government. So smart countries and smart businesses use debt correctly, not to spend on random shit, but to invest it at a proper place, which can generate better productivity and efficiency on that capital, generate a higher return than the interest you're paying to the other people, and make a profit for yourself. Now you understood the whole mechanics of one country. We started from a chai and samosa shop. Now we've understood the whole country level. Let's take it to the world level. Let's take it international. So India exports IT, medical, clothes, but also imports a lot of things like oils, chips, iPhones. And when that happens, that's an international trade. That means a trade between two different countries. So we say to a country that, hey, provide me oil, and I'll pay you some money for that, right? So that's importing. And then we manufacture a lot of stuff. Let's say we manufacture a lot of clothes. So we send clothes outside India, and that's called export. And that's why every country also has a specialization. Like a business has a specialization. Remember the dal and roti example? Every country also has a specialization. There are a lot of countries who don't have any water around their land, due to which they are deficit in a lot of things. And that's why India has a lot of water around it, right? So it can export a lot of stuff that those countries cannot have. Similarly, a lot of countries have tremendous amount of oil below their lands, but India does not have that. So India imports it. You need to understand that whatever you are specialized in, you export that. Whatever you are not specialized in, you import that in business as well. If you have two products for yourself and you want to add a service layer, maybe you're not good at it, so don't do it at all. Import it from other people. That means you can take an affiliate percentage on that, give that customer to someone else and make money off it rather than doing it yourself, because that's not your specialization. Whatever your specialization is in, you double down on that. But when the trades are happening on a global level, it is very fragile. Example, if you would have remember, there was a meme coming out where there was a ship which blocked the Suez Canal. So the Suez Canal was like this and the ship was like this. So it blocked the Suez Canal and billions of dollars were lost in a day, just because it blocked that particular trade route. So globalization helps everyone, but also it is very fragile. So one simple problem can also create a big shock. Now, from the global level, let's zoom down into a deeper level, which is human labor. Once we zoom into labor, we understand the human side of business. Jobs are also a market. It's just that you are trading human time for it. Companies are buying hours from you, talent from you, skill set from you, and you are selling them. So if I say that I'm going to work 50 hours a week for this company, I am selling my 50 hours a week to that company. Now, if my productivity is higher and efficiency is higher, I can sell them at a higher rate. If the company's efficiency and productivity is higher, they can buy my hours for cheap and sell it later for higher. Imagine a simple IT company. Let's say a simple factory. I make pencils. Now, each person can make 1,000 pencils a day. That is 30,000 pencils in a month. Each pencil sells for 3 rupees. That means I can make a lakh rupees. Now let's say I have a factory, okay? In a factory, I have an employee. That employee can make 1,000 pencils in a day. The profit on each pencil, not revenue, profit on each pencil is 3 rupees per pencil. So I know that this person can make 30,000 pencils in a month. That is 90,000 of profit for me. But if that person's salary is 20,000 rupees, I'm in profit, because that person is okay to trade their hours for 20,000 rupees, and I am okay to take that hours, convert that into a product and sell it in the marketplace and make a profit on it. Now, if there is enough demands of your skill, let's say all the pencils in the world are, just vanished for some reason, and you are the only person in the world left to make pencils, you would be paid so much that you can't even imagine. Why? Because the demand of your skill is higher. And that's why upskilling in this world becomes a norm. It has become an insurance for your career. But also, when wages get too high, businesses also automate. That's why supply and demand is also always maintained. When there's too much supply of work labor and the demand is too less, everyone is getting paid less. When there's very less supply of talented people, but there's a very high demand of it, then these people are paid more. So let's say people who learned AI in 2022, 2023, right? And they were early in the curve. These people were less, but businesses' demand were high. That's why these people were paid a lot of money. There was a time of data scientists when data scientists were paid a great amount of money. There was a time of Python developers paid a lot of money. You need to see where the curve is going and position yourself over there so that you can charge a lot of money for that. Now, let me talk about a new word in economics, very important, called as investments, right? Whenever you keep water at a single place, like in a bottle, it does not create any kind of energy. But let's say I take that bottle of water and I put that in a turbine. The turbine will rotate and create energy. So when money is sitting idle at some place, it will not create any kind of energy. But when money is flowing, it will create some kind of energy. The more energy you can create on your money is how well your investments perform. And there are multiple turbines available to you. It can be real estate, stock market, FDs, gold, whatever you can choose that you can use for yourself to make your money flow. And this whole thing is called as finance. When you tie it to a simple human, it becomes personal finance. When you tie it to a business, it becomes business finance. When you tie it to a corporate, it becomes corporate finance. And because we know that whenever the water would flow, it would create more energy, everyone is running towards how much energy they can create. But the more energy you can create, the more risk also increases at the same time. That's why you need to diversify and find the best suitable positions for yourself. Now let's talk about another human behavior. We as business owners feel like we are most of the time logical, but it's opposite. We are most of the times emotional. We buy based on tips that our friend gave us. We sell on basis of what type of customer is coming in the door. We follow crowds. We hate losing any kind of money anywhere. These are all emotional things happening to us. And this whole thing is called as behavioral economics. This explains how we actually think about money, not how we should think about money. And behavioral economics becomes an important part because that makes you understand why buying and selling is happening in the market. And that's why a great entrepreneur controls emotions of the whole market better than their competition. And finally, let's talk about the systems that run the world. There are multiple systems that run the world. Number one, capitalism. That simply means private businesses run everything. Socialism. That means government runs everything. And then there's India's system, which is a mix of both, right? Governments run some things, private companies run some things. It's like private energy, but public transport. And I'll tell you, there's no system that is perfect. Because with each system, you need to ask the three simple questions. What to be made, how to be made, and who gets it. That simply means that if you're trying to create energy, that is your what. How is productivity and efficiency of the money you will put into that? And who gets it? That means who gets the profit of that particular thing. If governments are getting that profit, they'll put into infrastructure. If private companies are getting, they can book as profits, whatever. You need the system that works for your business. And that's why all the countries have different systems for themselves. And economics is not just theory, what you learned in this video. It's your everyday life. It's why your customers are buying from you. Why is your competition bigger than you? It's why prices are going up. It's why ad cost is going up. It's why salaries are going up. It's why your profits are less. It's all these things combined what economics is. Once you understand economics, you will not just run a business. You will become a wise businessman because you understand why some things are happening better than your competition, and that's why you have a better chance of controlling it. And if this video made economics easy for you, subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, share this with a friend who would need this, comment down your favorite part and what videos you want on, and I'll see you in the next one.